All right, welcome back. So, if this is the first video that you're watching in this series, well, it's not necessarily a series, but anyways, this is about the new TOEFL iBT Special Home Edition, which is grammatically incorrect. It should say Special TOEFL iBT Home Edition. But, you know, as I say in the TOEFL Excellence courses, these people are exam experts and not language experts, and it seems they are not really experts at coming up with a good service. The idea of having the TOEFL at home is a brilliant idea. It's like one of those things where it has a great name, and so you think, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. But then upon further inspection, it seems that this is not nearly as awesome as it seems like it should be. Not just because it's not available everywhere. I mean, they say that the only place it's not available is China and Iran, but you would think that this should be available anywhere in the world that there is an internet connection, but apparently it's only available in the countries that support the exam. So that means that a lot of countries from Africa are out of luck. Some places in the Middle East are out of luck. But, you know, the internet is everywhere. Most places. So anyways, you can probably hear my frustration a little bit, but I want to go through why I now don't think that this is such a great idea. I mean, at least the way that they're doing it. And I have only gotten to the first two things. I'm writing a much larger article about the whole thing, and once I got to the very first thing, I was quite disappointed. So let's get into it. So first of all, they ask who's eligible. Well, the test is offered in your country or location. But it's not offered in every country or location. And location, does that mean that if you live in a city that doesn't offer the exam, or then you are not available? It doesn't make sense. If you live in a country where it's supported in some place, it should be offered everywhere. It probably is, but really bad wording. Also, it's only available everywhere except mainland China. Now, okay, so once again, I guess they'll probably check the IP address to find out where you're coming from. So therefore, that means that if you use a VPN, which a lot of people do, then that means that you won't be able to do it. This is speculation, of course, because I don't know how they run their security measures. But I think that most of the problems that I'm going to get into are not exactly with ETS, but they are about the service that they're using, Proctor, which is going to be the people that are like the police officers monitoring you. Go ahead. So this Proctor is a company which is used by larger universities and organizations to monitor people when they're taking tests so that they can't cheat on the exam. And in a lot of the exams that they probably handle, the security is probably much tighter because, of course, they're dealing with exams where people could have actual pieces of paper with answers on it. But anyone who knows the TOEFL knows that you can't have a cheat sheet. You know, you might have a template that that tells you how to answer the speaking or the writing parts. That could be one way that you could cheat, but that's really not going to give you much of a better score. And honestly, in the actual exam, if you go to a normal testing center, if you have one of those if you have one of those templates in your head and you want to write it down on the piece of paper that you used to take notes from, that's not against the rules. There's nobody saying that you can't do that, but in this home edition, you can't do that. So it's not authentic to the actual exam as they say it is. So it says that you must meet equipment requirements. Well, that's normal. Obviously, you have to have a working computer, and you have to have a microphone, and you have to have speakers. Now, in the last video, I said that you don't need to have headphones like this. Well, after further examination, it turns out you can't. You can't use headphones, which is very different than the normal exam. You have to use a system that has either internal speakers, which everybody knows are very low quality, or an external sound system, which everybody knows in combination with a microphone does not work very well. You have really, really poor quality, also internal microphones. Now, most people don't have a microphone like this. If they do have an external microphone, it's probably just some cheap, crappy thing. Some people do have nice microphones. Great, good for them. But if you don't have a microphone like this or something, of decent quality, you're screwed. So the other thing is you have to use either an internal or, well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go through this because there are other things that I want to talk about first, and that is what they refer to as the environment check. You must have a room that provides an acceptable environment for the test. Well, that's logical. Obviously, you don't want to be interrupted, but according to their rules, that's against the rules. You can't even have another person come into the room while you're taking the exam. Now here on this page, they talk about the equipment and environment checklist. I think that the more important and much more alarming thing is what they refer to as the environment or testing space. You have to have privacy. Okay, good idea. That's logic. But according to them, it's absolutely mandatory. You must be alone in a room with no one else entering during the test. No further explanation. What happens if somebody walks through the room? What if you are confined to your home with your entire family because of this COVID thing, which this exam is supposed to help you from? And maybe you have a little brother or sister that comes running through the room, and then your mom has to come in and then get the kid. What if that happens? You don't have control over that. Are they going to say, "Oh, you failed"? Maybe. They don't say. But it does say you must be alone. That's a little bit concerning. Testing in a public space such as a park, internet cafe, or restaurant is not allowed. Yeah, well, who the hell's going to do that? If you do that, you're stupid, and you're probably not going to survive in a university situation anyway. So then, the TOEFL exam wouldn't be beneficial for you anyway. That's just obviously common knowledge. Should be anyway. All right, tabletop and seating. Your computer and keyboard must be on a desk or other tabletop surface. Okay, that's logical. Nothing wrong there. The tabletop and surrounding area must be clear of all items not approved for use during the test. No explanation of what those items are. What does that mean, though? You can't use a lamp that's on your desk? You can't have... Well, we'll get into that. It's amazing what they say that you can't have. All right, so the tabletop must be clear. It's good advice. It's a good idea, but as a rule, that's pretty draconian. All right, so you must sit in a chair. You may not lie or sit on a bed, couch, or overstuffed chair. Well, come on. That's about as stupid as, taking the exam in a park. Of course, you're not going to be focused if you're sitting on your bed, but this idea of you can't be in an overstuffed chair? What? Are you kidding me? So they have control over what you are allowed to sit on? That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Also, they use the term standard chair. What the hell does standard mean? That's not an actual designation of a chair. It's, okay, you're going to be fine if you have a desk chair that you normally sit at, or if you're taking the exam at a kitchen table, you have a normal chair. But if you're in the kitchen, well, what happens when one of the people from your family has to come walking through the room? Did you fail? Do you lose your money? Pretty freaking stupid as far as I'm concerned. Now, this part is absolutely amazing. Clothing and appearance. Clothing and appearance. Your ears, well, let me just go back. Clothing and appearance. All right. So you're going to be monitored by another person. You're going to be monitored by some people from Proctor who are complete academics, obviously, and I've worked a lot with these corporate and academic types, and they're really into their rules, and they have their power and all this stuff, and this is just my opinion, so don't sue me, but this is ridiculous. Obviously you should put some clothes on and look okay because somebody else is going to watch you, and most people... probably 99.9999% of all the people that would be taking the exam, even if it's at home, would probably be wearing normal, appropriate clothes. They would dress as they would if they went to the exam. So, no laying on your bed with your shirt off. Well, duh. But here, this is where it gets pretty amazing. Your ears must remain visible throughout the test. No headphones. Sorry. Your ears must remain visible. Now, this is a situation because this company, Proctor probably, as I said before, monitors people taking tests where someone could actually be feeding them information through an earpiece. Not with the TOEFL. Jeez, this is ridiculous. Not covered by your hair. You can't have your ears covered because you might be having some secret information fed into your ears. However, since the questions and the answers to the writing and the listening part, the reading and the listening part, there's no way that you could have those answers beforehand, and it's not going to do you any good anyway. So having a little earpiece in there with a person feeding the answers is impossible. It's impossible. And you can't have it covered by a hat or other items. Well, first of all, what other items would you have on your ears besides earphones? But you can't have it covered. Like right now, I'm breaking the rules. Okay, can you see my ears now? Nope, barely. Oh, there they are. What is the guy going to come onto the microphone and say, I can't see your ears. Please turn your head for me. Please turn your head. This is ridiculous. Other items. I'm going to put a bag on my head. Nope, against the rules. Can't do that. All right, so you must be dressed appropriately for your test. Obviously, everybody's going to do that. You will be monitored via camera by the proctor. Okay, yeah, I understand that. And your photo will be shared with institutions that receive your scores. Oh, so they're going to take an unofficial photo, which is not part of the normal exam. They don't do that with the normal exam. You're not required to provide a photo that it's going to be shared with the institution. Well, okay, you have your photo ID, but that's your ID, so that's a photo that you get to choose. What, are they going to just take a snapshot of you while you're taking your score or taking your exam? That's ridiculous. It's completely against your freedom and your choice. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Now, this part is also incredibly ridiculous. Avoid wearing such items as jewelry, tie clips, cufflinks, ornate clips, combs. Who the hell wears comb? Comb is something you use to make your hair look nice. You don't wear a comb. Okay, maybe you have little hair combs. I don't know what. That's ridiculous. You can't put something nice into your hair. You can't have a hair clip or a barrette or a headband. Well, if you need to keep your hair away from your ears, how the hell are you going to do that if you have long hair? Is this hair tie that I wear, is that against the rules too? You can't see it. Oh, can't see it. Maybe I'll fail. Can't have hair accessories. Hair ties are hair accessories. So you're going to have to hold your hair the entire time that you're taking the test. But you're probably going to have to show the proctor that you don't have something special hidden in your hand to give you the answers that don't exist. Now, all of that is ridiculous. But this is the part which, as far as I'm concerned, if anybody asked me, should I take the home version of the TOEFL exam, I would say absolutely not, based on this next thing. Note-taking materials. One of the most important things about the TOEFL exam is being able to take notes on some of the specific portions or tasks on the exam. Here's what it says. First one, you may not take notes on regular paper for security purposes. Yeah, security. Really, I can't write on a piece of paper because that might somehow be a security issue for me to show that I'm not cheating, or maybe I'm giving answers to somebody else who I'm not connected to, because with the ETS browser that you have to install, which I will get to shortly, you won't be able to do anything. There's no way that writing on a piece of paper is going to be somehow a security issue. Idiots, in my opinion. Don't sue me. Okay, so you can't take notes. Well, yeah, you can, but you have to have a whiteboard. A whiteboard. You're at home. Who the hell has a whiteboard? Also, in most places in the world where we have people locked inside their homes, they can't leave. So if they don't have a whiteboard, they can't go to the store to get a whiteboard. Or if they are allowed to go to the store to buy a whiteboard, guess what? Lots of governments have made it against the rules to sell non-essential items. Well, that's essential for the TOEFL exam. How are you going to explain that to the police officer? But sir, I have to buy a whiteboard. Nope, you can only buy rice and toilet paper. Sorry. But if you have a whiteboard, hey, you're doing good. Now, but you can also have paper with transparent sheet protector and erasable marker. Has anyone ever tried to do that? I mean, because I'm a teacher, I have, and it doesn't work. It's ridiculous. So those little paper envelopes that, and we don't do this in America because it doesn't work. They're ridiculous. These little pieces of paper, or pieces of, see, let me start over. Those pieces of plastic that you have the little holes in the side to clip into a binder, and you can slide the paper in, and then, well, yeah, you can write in the plastic, and then you can erase it afterwards. No, because you'd have to use both of your hands. First of all, you have to use one hand to hold the piece of paper down because those plastic sleeves are bigger and they're going to move around. It's like trying to write on a piece of cloth or something. It's not going to work. So while you're trying to listen to the thing, you have to use one hand to hold down the plastic and then write with the other hand. Plus, you're using a marker so that the proctor can see your notes to make sure that you're not cheating. It's a waste of time. If you tried to take notes doing that while you're listening to the audio file, you don't need to take notes when you're doing the reading because it's on the screen. But if you're listening to an audio file and trying to write notes on something like that, you are going to lose points, period. Because it's impossible. No, okay, let me not exaggerate. It's not impossible to write on a piece of plastic and then have to wipe it off. But first of all, your hands are going to get filthy, because you're going to get all that erasable marker stuff all over your hands. Plus, you have to wipe it off because you can't. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Have 100 sheets of these plastic-covered papers? And it says here, you will be asked to erase all notes in view of the proctor at the end of the test because none of you are trustworthy enough to use a piece of paper. And, well, you won't be able to see the notes on the paper. Yeah, right. You're not going to be able to see it if it's a piece of plastic either. You're going to have to erase your notes after every single task. It's a complete idiotic waste of time. Don't even bother with the home edition. If you have to get things done, like immediately, you have a deadline, you can't wait until the testing centers open back up again, yeah, sure. Maybe you're going to be forced to do it, but I would recommend against it. If you have any possibility of being able to wait until the testing centers open back up to take the TOEFL, based solely on the very first requirement, don't do it. It's a waste of your money. It's ridiculous. Now, let's get to the equipment test. This part's not so bad because it's fairly normal, but it's a little bit behind the times. Because and first of all, nobody ever says you can't use Linux because nobody even really, the only people that know about Linux are Linux users, but there's a huge amount of people in the world that use Linux. Sorry, not surprised. Most of us are probably not surprised about that. But you also can't use iOS operating system or Apple or Mac or whatever. I'm not one of those users because I don't have enough money to be one. But you can use Windows. Well, okay, not surprising. Most of the people in the world have Windows. But there are a lot of countries in the world where when you buy a computer, it comes with Linux installed, not Windows. Sorry, you can't take the test. You have to wait until you get unlocked from your home. So you must be a desktop or laptop. Okay, that makes sense. Not a tablet or a mobile device. Once again, if you're a person who is planning on taking the TOEFL on your phone or a tablet, then maybe you're not ready for the TOEFL. You can use a Mac computer with Windows installed. Well, duh. Anybody who uses a Mac or Linux is probably smart enough to understand that if you can only use Windows, that you can install Windows on a virtual machine on your computer. But also, most of us who use Linux and Mac would never put Windows on our computer. It's a freaking virus. And that's the reason why we have this home version, is because of a virus. And then you want to put a virus on our computer? No, thank you. Also, you must use Chrome or Firefox. Okay, most people do. But there are alternatives out there. And there are a lot of people who have been switching over to browsers that are specifically designed to not follow everything we do and not track everything we do, just like the Proctor is going to do in the home version. So you can't use that, but then in the next line it says, download and install the ETS Test Browser. Well, if you're going to be using Chrome or Firefox, why do you need the ETS Test Browser? Now, this right here is just showing that these people are not language experts. They're exam experts. The TOEFL exam is a great exam. As far as the construction of the exam and all that stuff, I love it. I think it's awesome. Otherwise, why would I put up with all this frustrating nonsense? So the ETS Test Browser if you click on the link, it automatically starts the process. Well, no, let me rephrase that because I don't like exaggeration. If you click on the link for the ETS Test Browser, it doesn't take you to a page to explain it what it is. It just automatically offers to download it onto your computer without any sort of explanation about how it runs or anything like that. It just, here you go, click it, download. Well, okay, you just have to trust them. Trust them. They don't trust you. They don't trust you to take notes or do anything, but trust them. And then you also have to run the Proctor U system check. Let's take a look at that. Test it out. Okay, so as you can see, my OS didn't work. Flash doesn't work. No, I don't want you to allow anything. I'm just showing the page. So it checks to see if you have a camera. It checks to see if you have a microphone. It didn't recognize the camera that I'm using. Maybe it's because it's an older one or I have to physically set it up, but there's any sort of explanation of how to do that. Camera help. Well, okay, we could go there. Let's see what they do for camera help. Oops, that page doesn't exist. 404 error on the camera help page. Interesting. Microphone check 1212. I got this. Flash. Well, you know that with Linux and Flash, obviously I'm able to do everything on every other site, but not on this one. OS check, I don't really care because I'm a Linux user. Bandwidth check. Okay, so all they do, they check to see if you got a good camera, good microphone, that your Flash is up to date, that you're using the proper OS, which means Windows, and you have a high enough, what am I saying? Bandwidth. Internet speed. Yeah, that. See, I'm losing my bandwidth. All right, so that's what the test is there. Proctor system check. But the thing is, with the environment stuff that I talked about before, what if you have a chair, which is a desk chair, but it's overstuffed? See, a standard chair and an overstuffed chair, the terms standard and overstuffed are all opinions. They're opinions. So what might be overstuffed for them? Now, they're probably talking about like a chair that you would have in your living room. Most people would have. Like you can't sit on a comfortable chair. Why not? What if that comfortable chair is sitting next to a desk and that's the only thing you have in your house? You're going to go out and buy another chair? Well, if you have to, sorry, you can't taste the test at home. You got to wait. So when you do the Proctor U system check, they don't check to see if your environment is okay. They sure got a lot of rules about the environment. Maybe you should put on the clothes that you're going to wear for that day and say, hey, am I dressed appropriately? Is my hair okay? Do you like my earrings? No, I got to lose the earrings. Oh, okay. Well, those types of things seem to be much more important than the equipment because most people in the world would qualify to pass the equipment check. Most people. Not those of us who are smart enough to use something other than Windows, but most people in the world, and I'm not trying to say that Windows users are not smart. I'm just expressing my frustration because I really don't like Windows. All right, so that's my opinion. Don't sue me. All right, so yeah, basically what I'm saying is there's a lot of restrictions before you even get to the part about registration. And this video is already getting too long. So I'm not even going to get to the registration because honestly, I started writing the article about this, which is going to be posted very soon. And once I got to the end of the equipment thing, man, that article is long. And I figured that a video is going to be necessary after that part because the last video I made is at the beginning of the article. And there I say, oh my God, this is awesome. This is like the best decision that they've made. Yeah, it would have been. But some of these issues are pretty serious issues, and so my opinion of this whole home edition has drastically changed from, was it yesterday? 2 days ago, maybe? Okay. So anyways, it is still a possibility for some people. Now, maybe some people think that my views on the situation are pretty drastic, and obviously they are. But those people everybody's different. Hey, fine. If you think it's great, do it. I mean, I'm sure that it's going to be okay, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't want someone telling me what chair I have to sit in. And the most concerning things is the fact that this exam is expensive. And if you find out after you start the exam that the clothes that you chose to wear that day or the way that you did your hair was not acceptable to someone who's not even a member of the organization that created the exam, then all they can say is, no, he didn't follow the rules, or she didn't follow the rules, and then they can just keep your money and say, sorry, you didn't follow the rules, because things like that have happened in the past. And now, as I was saying that, I remembered another thing, which is also very important, is that I have spoken to plenty of students. I've spoken to a couple students with this particular issue about recording your speaking part. So they said that, and this was in different countries. There was one in Africa and another one in another European country. I don't remember, but they had written to me because of the fact that they were told by ETS that the recordings of their spoken parts did not come through clearly, and they have to take the exam again. And when I was communicating with these people, they said that they did not get any help from customer service. They did not get any response, except one of them actually said that they said that they would have to take it up with the testing center, which, yeah, but then you have to basically start a lawsuit to try to get your money back. Basically, they said, sorry, you're going to have to pay again, but you can get the discounted rate to redo your thing. But that was because the equipment didn't work. Now, yeah, that is the official testing center's responsibility, but it's one of those situations where they didn't get any help from the organization that is supposed to, from the organization that took their money for the exam. So if you're in a situation where you're using an internal microphone on your computer and, and your spoken part sounds like that, well, then you could lose your money. So in that situation, in most situations, the testing centers do have good equipment. They have the proper setup. They've gone through a whole process of being certified. And if something did go wrong, then it would be their responsibility, and you would have a way to handle the situation. But if you're doing this at home and there's a problem with the equipment, or if they say that your hair fell over your ears while you were taking the test, they were afraid that you were cheating, or maybe you have to just go like this throughout the exam to show that you haven't put any things in your ears. It's your money. I'm just trying to help you out, stay protected. So far, I would say this home edition is not necessarily a good idea. The idea of having the test at home, that's a great idea. But the restrictions and regulations that they have, I'm not buying it. And I suggest that you don't either. All right, so that's it. Maybe I'll have some better news when I do a little bit more further research on this situation, but I thought that it was very important because I've noticed that other people are starting to put out videos about the home edition, and they're all basically saying the same thing. Oh, this is a wonderful idea, just like I did. And this is important information that you need to know. And this is also based on my 10 years of helping people with the exam and hearing from people all over the world with their questions and concerns about situations when they do have problems with the exam. So my opinion, although it is my opinion, so don't sue me, it is my opinion, but it's based on 10 years of experience. And I'm also pretty smart. So maybe you should listen to me. So that's all I got to say for now. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, I do want to finish by saying that I really do like the TOEFL exam a lot, but I don't like what they're doing with this home version at all. So I'll leave it there, and I will let you all know when I get the article finished, because it'll have a much more thorough explanation of everything. And thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again soon. All right. Bye.